I'm Peter and I'm a member of the School Experience team. As you may know, I've been writing a form builder for Rails for, well, over the last month or so, and this is a quick demo of what it does and how it works. So I've cloned the DFE Rails boilerplate here. I've run yarn, not yet done anything else, so I'm going to create a scaffold. So employee with a name. Let's have the CV of type text, started on as a date, and department ID as an integer. And we'll create and migrate our database. So in the School Experience project, we're using the Ministry of Justice form builder, which, to be fair, is quite decent. It's a bit rough around the edges. We've had some problems with certain aspects of using it, so you define the text for all of the labels and hints in the locales file, which can get a bit unwieldy after a while, and it's not always easy to work out the exact structure that you should be following. Also, that library it does a bit of magic and has and maintains its own buffer, which, yeah, it's a bit tricky to work with when you're trying to debug things. So yeah, this is a clean implementation. It's taken inspiration from that, from the MLJ one, but it's everything's been written from the ground up, hopefully to make it a bit easier to understand, to extend and to test. So we've generated our model, and we're just going to set Rails' default form builder to ours. Oh, additionally, before I started this, I inserted the gem into the gem file. So we've got GovUK design system, form builder, and slim. They're the only two things that I've changed. So in the application controller, we can just paste in the default form builder declaration, and let's start our server. So we have our Rails generated scaffold for an employee listing, and when we hit new, we've got our form, which, to be fair, isn't too bad, but I think we can improve it. So GovUK heading Excel, and in our form, let's get rid of what was provided to us by the scaffold. So refreshing this, we've got an empty form. So GovUK text field, and as you can see, it looks quite a lot like the default Rails form builder, but wraps everything in nice GovUK tags. And it works how you'd expect it to work for the most part. So text area works in the same way. So now if we want to override the label, we can pass into the method a label hash with a text attribute, and whatever we put in this text attribute will form the text of the label. So in addition to taking a label like that, we can also pass in some hint text. And yeah, everything's automatically generated. Similarly, yep, dates working more or less the same way. You'll notice there's no label with this because we need to provide it with a legend, because it's a collection of inputs that sit in a field set. So, and again, legend looks a lot like label. We'll provide it with some text. And we can also, if we want, in the same way that we can with label, give it a size. So let's give that a size of medium. Excellent. So, oh yes, we added the department ID. So let's do gov.uk collection radio buttons for department, and we'll use a collection of departments, which we'll go and define in a minute, with an ID and a name. And yeah, again, we should really provide this with a legend, but I'll just fill in a couple more departments. Let's have IT and finance. Of course. Excellent. Now, one area that caused us a bit of pain with the MLJ form builder was that when it came to things like lists of radio buttons, getting the hints in the right place was a bit of a pain. So thankfully that's quite a lot easier here. If I jump to the controller and let's add a description for the marketing department. Now if I come back to the form, after the text method, so there's a value method and a text method, after the text method, if I pass in the hint method, which in this case is description, we automatically get a hint. And what's even better is the hint is automatically linked to the input using the area described by. In addition to this, If we just jump into the employee controller again, and let's add a bit of validation onto this employee. So let's say validates name, presence, so we're validating the presence of a name and a department ID. And as you can see, we've now got errors on our form because we're, as you saw in the controller, I'm validating it before we're rendering the form. So we have some errors. And again, the inputs are automatically linked by the error. This is all done automatically for you, so yeah, you hopefully shouldn't have to worry about manually linking things as we've had to do on the School Experience project. Finally, if I just get back to the form, yeah, everything that you'd expect to see here is here, including a submit button. Now, one other nice thing about this library is we allow for most of these methods to take a block. So if I wanted to pass into the submit button, just as an example, a link to, so this will render the contents of the block in line with the button, but most of the other methods will put the arbitrary block of HTML in after the hint. So let's have cancel, which goes nowhere and has the class govuk button, secondary. Yeah, and like I say, almost all of the methods will take an arbitrary block and just stick the HTML in, usually after the hint and before the element. Yeah, so I think that about concludes this demo. There's loads more. Oh, actually, no, before we finish, there's one more thing that's quite interesting. So, on the text area, the GovUK design system comes with plenty of JavaScript helpers that do nice little things like check the number of words. So if we add max words, say 20, on here, we automatically get the right attributes added to the input in order to make it trigger the JavaScript hooks that do the validation on the fly. There's nearly all of the functionality in the GovUK design system is covered. There are probably a few things that I've missed, but most of it's there, and most of it is named in a sensible fashion. So, for example, if we pass in a width to our text field of 1/2, which is how it's labelled in the design system documentation, yeah, it just works. Or if we want to do a character width of 20, again, it just works. So that just about does wrap it up. If you've got any questions, any feedback, feel free to raise it on GitHub or in Slack or whatever. Quite easy to get hold of. And yeah, thank you for watching.